The girl simply dipped her hand into the sea. But something strange happened. The little fish seemed to have heard some kind of call. They all swam toward the girl. However, the greedy fishermen were not surprised, because every time they took the girl fishing, they always had a bountiful catch. It was because of Lena's special ability. She sustained the greedy residents of the island. But Lena's secrets went far beyond that. Every morning, many people gathered at her foster parents' doorstep, because anyone who came into contact with Lena could have their illnesses cured. And even wounds on their bodies would heal quickly. The local residents regarded Lena as a deity. It was Lena's arrival that allowed them to live a prosperous life free from disease. However, this peaceful village was plunged into civil war due to the fishermen's greed. One day, Lena and Andy went to play on the mountain. She discovered a beehive. Strangely, when Lena approached, the bees crawled onto her hand, just as Lena was showing this to Andy. Andy was being attacked by bees. Seeing her friend injured, Lena clenched her fists. Surprisingly, all the bees died. They were deeply shocked. To avoid being seen as monsters, Lena asked Andy to keep her secret.
Пообещай мне.
Да, обещаю.
It was after this incident that Lena's special ability disappeared. She could no longer heal the villagers, and the fishermen returned from sea with no catch. The villagers held an emergency meeting that night, feeling anxious about their future. The next day, they brought gifts to comfort Lena, praying that she would regain her divine power. That evening, Anne was comforting her daughter to sleep. She noticed that the cut wound was healing. She called her husband, and he also noticed that the scar on his hand was disappearing at an astonishing speed. They realized that Lena's abilities had returned to cure the neighbor's dementia, and prepared to tell the neighbor the news. But her husband Nick stopped her, because once the neighbor recovered, the island's residents would once again use Lena's abilities for personal gain. Nick said that birth, aging, sickness, and death are natural laws, and told his wife not to meddle in others' affairs. However, by midnight, his wife had already invited the neighbor to their home. In an instant, the neighbor's illness was cured. But the fisherman's catch was unusually poor. Soon, the fisherman came to Anne's home. It turned out that after the neighbor recovered, they spread the news that Lena had regained her divine power. Upon learning that Lena only possessed divine power while asleep, the neighbors made a bold decision. They handed Nick a sleeping pill, intending to put Lena to sleep, so that everyone on the island could continue to enjoy the blessings bestowed by heaven. At first, Nick refused, but his wife said,
Это будут посещения, как узнает.
Ultimately, Nick agreed. That night, and ground the sleeping pills into powder, and mixed them into Lena's water cup. Once Lena had fallen into a deep sleep, they carried her on a stretcher, and followed the residents to the beach. As the fishermen cast their nets into the sea, he carried Lena toward the